noches. It's a pleasure to introduce Giancarlo Mazzanti on behalf of our head meeting group that cannot join us tonight. But I will, with pleasure, read her notes and add some things, okay? Because we know each other from a lot of years, I would say, so far. No, we met in Spain, not in Peru. We met in Spain. Because you asked, I'm going to tell the story how we met. I was doing, as a journalist, an interview in a congress in Pamplona, and there was like I would say there were kind of two levels, I would say, of age in the Congress. One were political prizes, Glenn Marcotte, Esther de Meuron, who else, I don't remember. There were 2 or 3 political prizes, Moneo. And after, in that Congress, there was the younger, emergent generation, who I was in charge to have a conversation and get published into a book. That was Aravena, that was Mazzanti, and that was it, right? I forget, but basically I remember, I don't know why, Aravena and Mazzanti. That has to do something of their position in architecture. Okay, I close the parenthesis of how I met Giancarlo. That was 4 years ago, and since then we've been crossing our lives very, very often. Anyway, you all know his work, so this evening Giancarlo is going to speak as part of our lecture series, Experiments in Architecture. Mazzanti, as you know, is based in Bogota, Colombia. Bogota and Medellin have in the last several years become symbols of how architecture can transform a city, not only physically, but socially. Enabled by politicians whose main aim was to transform the city from violent to livable. Antanas Mocus in Bogota, now famous for his use of humor and memes. Or Fajardo, as the mayor in Medellin in the 2000s. These politicians financed public works and infrastructure and architecture projects. Much of the change in cities occurred through architectural projects, especially civic and public facilities, including parks, libraries, schools, sports. It is particularly interesting to think about experiments at the scale of the city, where experimental architecture became a mode of functioning the city, creating extraordinary projects for the most humble of structures and facilities in economically depressed areas. In this context, Giancarlo has been a proactive agent in several cities in Colombia, basically, and I hope that he will share with us part of this work. This was done through competitions and collaborations, and this open attitude towards how architects work together. Mazzanti has transformed major cities in Colombia through his acts of architecture. He also has worked with over than 50 architects in the last 20 years, and together with politicians, forming architecture culture of collaboration. This is a specific method of getting commissions through public competitions, and the need for architects to always swift and form new collectives to complete projects of different programs, scales that require different expertise. Though, of course, the relationship of politics and architecture, this partnership, can play out in numerous ways. But in Colombia, in the recent years, it has been remarkably positive and generous. We architects think of ourselves as politicians, we've said recently. Due to the great work produced, we'll see tonight, the definitions and practice in Colombia has changed. So Mazzanti speaks about his work as toys of learning through playing and through the value of playfulness in the constructions of the society and the dissolution of his authorship sometimes. He looks for develops the anomaly as a catalyzer in new relations. Today, Mazzanti asked us to visit some of the labs that use this playfulness as the motor, as the engine of creativity. And hopefully you will explain us how it produces your architecture. I can give small bio details of his practice, but basically I think it's relevant to remark that he has been educated in La Javeriana in Bogotá. This is a fantastic, quite small university. And he has won several prizes in Colombian Architecture Biennale, the Ibero-American Biennale as a best architectonical work in Lisbon, the Pan-American. I mean, I think you've won all the prizes. You've been in all the exhibition biennales that I can think of, from Quito to Paris, and your work is in MoMA. I mean, what else can I say about you? Please welcome Giancarlo Mazzanti.
I have a microphone here. Okay, thank you for the invitation, and I'm going to show the projects. And this lecture is divided in 3 parts. And can you turn the light, please, for better to see the image? And I'm going to split this lecture is divided in 3 parts. The first part is how we work. That is a political position, how we want to work in the country. The second part is about what is the interest that we ask, and then the other part of what we do, what is the project, what is the approach in general. I don't speak English very well. I have learned English 2 years ago, and I think that maybe I need help to Patricia to some words in my translation. Yeah. How do we work? In the last year, we have worked for more of 57 different streams of architect or another forms of sociologists or another teams in general in the studio. For us, it's very important how we can work with other teams. We want to learn of the other. We don't want to do a dogmatic architectural. And for us, it's very important to work with other architects and other forms to approach, to think. That is a form to learn. For us, the most important, how we can learn in every project. That is the question when we start to do a project. What we want to learn here, what we want to do, what we want to understand in this case, in the project. Okay. Perfect. The other form that how we have worked in the last year is about the competitions. Only project that I'm going to show is made for the competition or is made for the foundation. We think that this is the only possibility to the more young people can to access to do a public project. And we have an important law in Colombia of the public building is made. You have to make public building for the competition. The competition triggered the discussion about the innovation. You can open new forms to approach, and we think that is the only possibility democratic to do the architecture for the more young people or for the open discussion. And it's a challenge every time. You need to challenge what you think, and you need to think other forms to understand. And in the end, it's important because the jury show a project, don't show to architects. The best project. The people look for what is the real project in this case. Well, what interests us, in general, I'm going to speak for 3 little concepts, and I'm going to show after in the project the different concepts. We think that architectural is action. For us, the value of the architectural is not in itself only. What we can trigger the architectural, what we can to produce, that is the real target that we want to understand around to the architectural. We want to understand the capacity, performative capacity of the architectural. How we can trigger new relation, new behavior. We are interested about today what happened with the anomaly in the space and what can trigger this anomaly in the behavior of the people. That is a general of the approach that we have. What we did in the last year. This is a good example that we have spoken before. This is a sombrero, it's a work of the artist, Mexican artist, Pedro Reyes, and when we put together this sombrero, we have to speak because for move, and this tool is a tool for the communication. If you see the sombrero, when we put that, we have to speak together to move or whatever, and that is a good example of what is my interest in the architectural in this case. How we can trigger other relation with the community, embracing or other forms to work in this case. We have worked in general. We think that the architectural is a social inclusion tool. And we are very interested of the work of Cedric Price in the last year and another in this case. Where do we work it? We have worked in the last year in the periphery of the cities of Colombia, and we think that the architectural is a tool for social inclusion and to help to the people to live in these very poor zones in general in Bogotá. I have spoken before in the class. The social is not only work with the neighborhood poor. The social is everything, because everybody speaks now about the social, it's only for the poor people. No, the social, you can do social architecture with the museum or whatever different project. What you can trigger in the relation of the social, how you can put different social relation in this case. We have an interest to think the architectural is a material practice. We are interested about today how the behavior of the form of the geometry. We want interested in the diagram and system action in this case. We want interested in the operational systems or how we can do architectural finishes, or how the architectural can grow, or can. What is the real behavior of the piece, of the memory, of the intelligence of the form of the material in general in architecture? We have worked around the idea of the model of the system. More than finished and closed architectural, we propose the development of open and adaptive system composed with models and a pattern of association capable of adapting to diverse situations. That is the interest where we have worked. I'm going to show different projects made for model and system and the capacity to grow or to change in the time of this project in general. We have interest about work with the idea of the diagram and the strategic, how we can fit the architectural more near to the strategic. We are interested in work in this way. We think that the architectural is not a work of the capacity to design, it's more to the think. How the architectural is a form to think, it's a form to produce think, it's a form to produce ideas or more strong knowledge. And we are working with this idea of the diagram, adaptive system, finishing, versatility, growth, adaptability, and we have classified the project in 6 different classification, not because we want to classify the project. It's more for the lecture or for displaying the different projects that we have did in the last year. We don't have an interest to do projects for the landscape or contour and thematic and ground power or ground patterns. We want it's a form to explain. It's similar to Borges explaining the natural in the introduction of the book to landscapes and topographies, contours and thematics, ground patterns, models and adaptive system, connectivities and adaptive system, ambient and environment in general. What we do, and I'm going to explain now the idea of the landscapes, what we want with that to work with the idea of the landscape or the topography in this case. More than architectonic object, we aim to develop landscape related to the urban geographics and topographies. In this case, we are interested to dissolve the idea of the object in the landscape. We want to work with the idea of the landscape, how the architecture can be more near to the landscape or the landform. Stanley write it about to the idea of the landform, and we are more near in this approach to speak about the natural contract or natural relation between in the project. In this case, I'm going to show the Park Library, España in Medellin. He's a competition. We won this competition in 2006. I think I forget now, but this project is in Medellin. Medellin is a long valley between two big mountains. It's a city in the mountains in Colombia. And Medellin, in the end, is mountains and geography. And how we want to work it in this case, we want to work with this idea of the landscape. We don't want to do architectural object. We want to work with the idea of the landscape, with the idea of the contours of the landscape in this case. We work it with the idea of the extrude, extract, fold, rotate, and with the idea how we can work with the idea of the landscape. We don't want to do a metaphor about of the landscape. We want to have a relation with this idea of the mountain. We don't want to representation the mountain. We want to work with the idea to operate it, to how operate the landscape generally in this case. This is the idea of the model. This is the mountain. This is the model of the competition, and we have worked in very poor neighborhood in Medellin. In the 80s, this neighborhood is the principal center of the operate of Pablo Escobar. And the people to live here is very stigmatized because nobody wants to say, I live there. For many, many years, Medellin is a synonymous of the narco traffic and the violence. Now Medellin is a synonymous of transformation, education, and optimism. In this case, this library visibility, the political approach of the mayor, another urban political in this case. This is the image of the library, the idea of the topography of the landscape in the valley of Medellin, and you can see this idea in this picture from years ago. This is the idea of how we can change what thing the people to live in this neighborhood. Now, this place changed not only for the library, for another approach, or the urban approach, but the people changed what think about to do itself in this case, because the people that have embracing about that of the library. The people to okay, and the people to live in this neighborhood say, I live there. What is this library? This library visibility, this change of the city, and visibility another political approach. In Medellin is made another 7 or 8 important libraries, but this is maybe the point to show what is the transformation of this city in general. I'm going to show videos of the interview with the people, what think the people about the project, or what happened after but I'm going to cut the video because it's very long and we don't have a lot of time for show the project, okay?
La vida esa comuna nororiental ha tenido mucho problema de conflicto, de bandas. Entonces, como llegó allá la cultura y empezó a cambiar como la forma de vivir de los que estaban ahí, entonces eso llamó mucho la atención y fuera de eso vino pues el rey.
El barrio cambió 100%. A como era primero, sí.
La misma gente le comenta pues a uno que eso era muy crítica, que la gente no podía salir.
O sea, el barrio era muy, que te digamos, o sea, demasiado caliente. No cambiado un 100%, pero sí, a comparación de como era antes, sí ha mejorado mucho. O sea, ahora se vive muy tranquilo.
Yo digo pues por la parte de la biblioteca.
Porque el gobierno ha estado más pendiente de estas zonas, ha visto que acá se puede, en barrios así pobres, se puede dar oportunidades y la gente puede aprovechar.
O sea, uno no siempre tiene dinero para ir a internet, a salas, a un café, a buscar tareas, y ahora pues todo es internet. Entonces esto es una proyección pues muy bonita, muy buena para todos nosotros y para toda la comunidad.
Es bonita, llama mucho la atención.
La biblioteca es muy bonita.
Es grande por dentro, por acá también se está bonita, esas de allá son las tablas, donde hace tu actividad.
Pues a mí lo que me gusta de la biblioteca es el cine y también los libros.
El estilo muy bacano, pues sí, muy bonito.
En este momento hay mucho proceso de cultura hacia los ciudadanos de acá, la misma zona, a cuidarla. Y saben que eso es un regalo que nos dieron gente de afuera. Por eso se llama la Biblioteca España.
Es que eso no se llama una biblioteca, eso se llama Mega Biblioteca España. ¿Por qué se llama Mega Biblioteca España? Porque es muy grande.
Se comparten muchas cosas buenas allá adentro.
Pues tiene el auditorio. Tiene la sala de computadores y sala de libros. ¿Para qué? Para hacer tareas y muchas cosas.
La forma de la...
And this is the location of the plan of the location of the library. The library is in the very steep mountain. In this case, this is the neighborhood, and this project is part of the other urban connection in the different place of the neighborhood. In this case, the neighborhood is this project is part of the PUI, Proyecto Urbano Integral, is an integral urban project, and this is the part of the this is the part of the visibility of this more urban intervention of the neighborhood. In white is the intervention of in general. This is the library, and these libraries connect with the cable with the metro in the valley, and this is very important because this is the form to connect everything of the neighborhood and the library and the project did with Mayor Fajardo in this period. The library is cut in three. The program is one program, and the competition asks one building, and we break the building because we want to multiply the time of the use of the library. We want to use this library 24 hours. You see the people till live there, the people go out to work 7 in the morning and come back 7 in the night. In general, the library is closed when they arrive. How can you use this different part of the library in different staff? The auditorium is open when they need, and the library is open in different times, and the classrooms and another use. In this case, in the end, it's not a library. It's more to the cultural center. In this place, the people can go there to learn other behavior, other words, and other forms to work in Medellin. That is the section. The possibility to entry in different times for this door, or connection with the platform, the ground floor in the library. This is inside of the library. The relation of offside inside. We don't want to have a big view of the city. Everybody can live there, have the wonderful view of the city. We want to change and do another ambient inside of the library. We want to do an ambient of the life. Silence. Now it's very difficult to have a silence because there's many people to go around, tourists, architects, every time it's impossible to do. This is the idea of the mountain to the geography and topography, how the library go up of the earth, and is part of this idea of the mountain and the earth in general. This is the place, in the top how the people use this data. And I'm going to show you another video, more of the project, not than the interview. I'm going to show what is the impact of the library and the pool in the population of the neighborhood very fast. This is not, but change from mind, what think the people for mind, for what think the people to itself. The craze of the violence in the neighborhood. How the space is used for older population, for more old people and other different works inside of the library. Now is a symbol of the city. This is a tourist point. This is important because the tourist point changed the economy of the neighborhood. We open restaurants, open bars, and open how we can trigger that. How we can trigger the economy change in the poor neighborhood. I think is the final target in general when we work in this place. This is a beautiful book, right, for the Spanish writer about the history to two young people to live in very poor neighborhood. That is the history of the library, and it's beautiful because after that book, start a foundation about music and hip hop. In this case, it is very beautiful. The whole around to this library start new and other forms to foundations and the people to connect with the library in this case. This is the image general of the library. I'm going to show another classified as a grown-up patterns. We have interest for every time how the project can grow, can be to adaptable in general. How can think projects with the patterns and the rest, and it's an abstract organizational system. We can think in finish this project. We can another forms to grow in the time of the project. It's more when we think how we can work with the instruction. I can give you structure to work with the architecture. I don't design the building. I think it's instruction and operative capacity, and the building can grow and adaptability in the time. I'm going to show now the sport hall in Medellin. This is another competition. We won this competition in 2008 or 9 or 10 around. And this is it's in Medellin too, but it's in another very different place from Medellin. It's in the valley. It's a very consolidated place in general. We want working with the idea of the plantation, to the whole organizer, the plantation and the growers of the plantation and the capacity of the plantation to grow in the time, the possibility to occupy the territory with the idea of the growers. How these growers can to grow in the two different levels to adapt to add growth or grow the pattern. This is the first sketch of the project. The form of the project is product of what is the tall height for do the sport that is the producer of that, but the possibility to grow in different sense the building. This is the first approach that we did in general, and this is the form to grow this project. We can do 2 or 3 sport halls or the 4 sport halls. That is the form to grow. In the countries as Colombia, we don't have maybe the money for do 4 sports halls or 4 or 5 projects or a big project. We can think the model and the system and the piece, and we can do fixed piece, and you can see the finished project, and you can work with the community, and you can have tools for the connect with the community. And in the time when you have more money, you can grow the project. That is important for us. And in the end, that is another interesting is the depth of the author, and I'm going to speak about very fast about that after when I show the project. This is the model of the competition. And this is the place. The place is a traditional sport place in Latin America. The stadium and different sport facilities around. We have the interest in this case to go with the idea of the continent. This is another concept. But the competition asks to do 4 different sport facilities. We want to do one big coliseum, one big hall for the sport, with the possibility to break and build in different time in general. That is the place of the city. Is between 2 little hills in Medellin, very important hill for the collective, for the people, the Nutivara and flying. And this is the image of the competition. Have the relation around to the idea of the topography, the color of the roof is near to the idea of the color of the city, and this is the image of the project built in Medellin around to the facilities competition in these days. This image is very interesting for me because when you think, when you work with the idea of the structure or when you don't think to the building is finished every time, this ground can, this pattern can grow when you want. It's not produced of the design. It's produced because we have a tree here and we have to stop the operation of this system in general. And we did 4th sport. This sport we didn't do because it's made for the people of the city, and I have interest for that because I give to the cities and I give to my clients the possibility to continue to grow the project. I don't need the architect. I give you the instruction and you can develop and you can do that. In the end, I have interest in this case in another way with the idea of the play. Who think the play? Who think the toys? I don't know, but have instruction, and everybody is retaining and remaining the buildings in this case. In this case, it's more near to the idea of the operative approach, but we are now working around to the idea of the play, of the anomaly, of the behavior. We can open the possibility to use the buildings. Don't think the building is every time the result of the efficiency, how we can work with this approach to trigger other behavior and other relation inside of the space in the space. This is a different approach to the toy and the play and the anomaly, another that you have explored in this case. What do we want to trigger in this case? In general, the sport facilities is closed for everybody. You cannot see inside, and you cannot use inside the sport facilities because it's for the high competition. We propose to the city to open and close different doors and different membranes of the sports facilities for the possibility to use the people of the neighborhood. And when you see the people go there to dancing, to singing, to the high competition or play, or the young people is playing basketball in general in this space. We did 4 different coliseum, 2 new coliseum, and we have to adaptability the old coliseums of the Medellin in general. We have worked with 7 different roofs and 7 different pieces, and we can put this piece in position A or B, and with that we can have many different possibilities to put together the 7th piece. We have to work in this case. This is the different piece working together. And another approach important for us in this case is what produced the form of the sport building. In general, is the result of the form of the field. We want to break that, and when I go to show another sport facilities, we want to work that, and we want to trigger more shadow in this case in Medellin. And this is how the people use the space, public space around and between of the different coliseums. We want to break this. What we wanted to to do another form of the building, not the result of the form of the field in this case. This is the different possibility to go up or grow of the building that is inside of the building. Every building I'm showing now is have a bioclimatic approach. I don't need air conditioning, don't need in general this. We have a wonderful weather in general. And another approach for us, very important, is how we can see inside of the building. In general, the public buildings or the sport building is closed for the people. And we want to trigger that, how we can feel inside of the building, how we can think the border of the building more near to the membrane, noise as the result of the composition of the facade or the idea of the window. Is more to the idea of the compress and extend the membrane. And we want to trigger that, how we can open the relation, what happened inside or outside, how the people walk around to see what happened inside. And I think it's important the public is open, and you need to see what happened inside. It's a public building. This is a public building. You need to open, and you have to be more democratic relation between outside and inside in general. In this case, this is what happened with the idea of the membrane, of the border of the project. This is the inside and the people looking what happened inside of the building. And this is the image of the building in Medellin with the metro. And I'm going to show the video of the project. Okay, I'm going to show another classified of the model and system, and adaptive system. I go to we have interest very similar to the last classified. How we can grow, how we can do adaptive architectural finishes, grow, and in this kind. And this is a video with the possibility. This is an image of the little roof that we did in Bogota. The possibilities that I have spoke before in the last project. In the end, it's fun to play in the studio. We play every time we work with the idea of the play many times. This is the form to play with the idea of the operative architectural. What happened here? Nos quedamos sin batería. No sé, okay. I don't know whether we need more time for turn off. It's okay. Yeah, ready. But we have a problem with. Sorry.
No.
Okay. Yes. Hazlo doble clic en el todo. Okay, we'll continue. We will repeat the video. And okay. So, okay. I'm going to show another project. It's a canopy for the foundation of Bogota, in the periphery, in the border of the city. Bogota is a city of 8 million people. It's a big city. Every time it's growing. And this is the border, very, very poor zone of Bogota. Bogota is a green city, but in this part is destroyed. The trees, everything is destroyed, and this is the condition of the neighborhood in this case. We want to work with the idea of the. It's very difficult to translate. Con la idea de la frondosidad. How do you say that in English?
The canopy.
No, but it's not. It's a canopy, but we want to work with the idea of the volume. It's not the volume, but we can speak about the project. It's a the foliage. Yes, yes. Okay. This is a good work for the. And we want to work with the idea how we do this canopy in general, and this is the place we have to do, and we have to do the little canopy in this field, sport field, in this very poor neighborhood, near together to this little school in Bogota. And we are working with this idea of the model and the possibility to grow, and I'm going to show why we have an interest into the possibility to grow. This is the piece of the exhibition that we did in the Reina Sofia the last two months ago, about the place and the catalog of the piece in this project, the possibility to grow in this case. And this is another configuration that you can do with that. This is the first sketch of the project, and this is the project built. But in this case, it's very different approach than we have in Medellin before, because we are going of the project to the neighborhood. In this case, we want to propose to the city to do this project. Is the first approach for the foundation of Shakira, and she is the principal of the little school here, and we propose the possibility to grow the project in this case. And this is a concept draw, and now we are start to connect with this part of the neighborhood, and the project is grow in the neighborhood. That is another approach, how done from the project to the neighborhood in this case. This is the image of the project around to the city, the different speeds, the public space, the connection with the school, and image about this possibility to connect and to grow in this case. This is the interviews, and this is very interesting because this neighborhood is changed with a very little project. They speak about that.
Un campeonato, unas vacaciones creativas ahorita que hay en Buenos Aires.
Antes era un potrero, ahora es una cancha multipropósito donde los niños pueden venir a practicar fútbol, baloncesto, voleibol.
Nosotros le decimos el polideportivo de Casuca.
Inicialmente tenemos 3 escuelas de formación deportiva o clubes juveniles con el Instituto Colombiano de Bienestar Familiar operados por Colsubsidio, y tenemos también 3 escuelas de formación artística con la Secretaría de Educación y Cultura del municipio.
Pues esta construcción de este polideportivo ha sido definitivamente valiosísimo para esta comunidad, una comunidad afectada por la violencia, una comunidad afectada por todos los problemas sociales que se viven en una comuna 4 de Soacha, ¿no? Problema de desarraigo. Entonces nadie es dueño de nada, nadie cuida nada. Con este polideportivo lo que hemos notado es que la gente se ha apropiado un poco del espacio. Primero porque está cercano al colegio, segundo porque es un punto de referencia valioso acá dentro de la comuna.
Ya hay una referencia para toda la comunidad, la sola ruta de transporte cuando tú vienes en un bus. Entonces ya la gente se ubica que es el parque Pies Descalzos, el parque de Shakira.
Vemos que los aros de las canchas, por ejemplo, de baloncesto todavía permanecen, eso es un logro fantástico. Antes había unas canchas allí, pero pues estaban completamente destruidas. La gente aprovecha este espacio no solamente para recrearse, sino para compartir y repartir otro tipo de actividades. Sacamos en la oportunidad, por ejemplo, de tener encuentros del Día de la Familia.
También se han hecho acercamientos con la comunidad para que desde la comunidad sean los dinamizadores, pues porque sabemos que las organizaciones están temporalmente, pero tienden a irse en algún momento. Están temporalmente y quienes quedan son las comunidades.
Me parece que ha sido muy positivo.
Okay, then in this case, these plays have, for me, a very interesting situation. Before that we did this canopy, the people cannot go out after to the 7 of the night in this place. Now this is a place of the I don't know if the peace, es como un lugar de salvación. It's a place of salvation. The people, the different gangs to live in the neighborhood don't go to this place, and this place is interesting because the people can be there until 11 and 12 in the night, and that for me is important. That everybody can go out in the night of the neighborhood. In general, it's a very, very dangerous, and it's another different violence, very different violence from of the Medellin. It's more the gangs and bands and other forms of the violence. And the people use this canopy for the sport, for the market, for different activities in this case. This is a very usually in Colombia to do canopies, but in general the people do a canopy similar to this roof. I think the form and the possibility of the growth, I think, is the difference to the connect to the people, to embrace in general in this case. Another image of the project. Sometimes you can see very solid the building. Another moment you can see very transparent the building. I like that because you can have a different approach and views of the building. That is the neighborhood. It's a very, very poor neighborhood and very dangerous neighborhood in general. Bogota. Image and go to show a very, very, very little video. To show another project, the new velodrome for Medellin is part of the classified of the models. And 16 is another competition that we won 2 years ago, and this is the catalog of the piece of the model and the possibility to attachment, aggregate the different building in this case, but have the possibility to grow. In this case, is another configurations, and the idea of the place of the competition is a lawn park together to the airport in Medellin, and we want to propose the velodrome, but the possibility to grow and put another piece of this part to connect the different parts of the building. This is the structure of the building. The structure of the building is work with the idea of the Ricolet. It's an engineer, French engineer around to the 30, and in the end, the structure of the velodrome is a road, a bicycle, and this is the configuration, the real configuration of the project. Here is the how do you say pista? Track. The track is here, but this is the real configuration of the project to design it in this case. We work with 3 different approaches. We put the program down, the program of the bathrooms and the other program, and we do a public event plaza over the program in this case, and we propose the mobile fencing of the space. Is go down, is move the facade of the building, is go down, and we can use in this case the space for the public when we don't use the high competition in this case. This is the structure, and the skin is a tensile membrane in this case. This is the different piece of the building and the model of the work. This is to this point. Then this point have a 45 meters, and this suspended of the difference. This is the model, the little model of the structure is transparent. This is the draw of the competition of the different rows put together in this case, and this is the image inside when this down the border of the building of the facade. This is another image outside of the building. This is the differences, the textile that we use in this case. This is the topography and the possibility to the people going bicycle and tricycle when in roads. We want in this case to work in other. This is the very strong. This is structurally designed for the Spanish engineer Boma from Barcelona. And then it's very interesting because this piece, 45 meters, is suspended and is supported with these columns. What we want to trigger in this case, we want to put many different activities around to the road. We have innovation for the bicycle shop, exercise for the vehicles, bicycle game for the. With different activities. We want to put many different activities about the road. We can go with my daughters and with the tricycle, and we can have open and close the building, not only for the high competition in this case. This is the possibility to move in the park with that. And this is the first draw of the competition, and this is the final image in general. This building in theory is going to build this year, and they are going to start the construction of the building. This is the draw of the engineer, because it's a very beautiful draw of the engineer. This is a little video. It's not good video, but you can understand better the space. Let me see. Okay. No. Isn't a good video, but you can understand with the video how go down the facade, the structure, and how is the building in the end. This is the connection with the platform, the possibility to walk up on the platform, and the facade is go down now, and we open every space, and you can see inside what happened, and this moment is go down. This is a mechanical possibility to go down and this is the models and different. I'm going to show the last project. This is a project is in construction. This is another possibility to finish the connection in the road. We want to understand how we can, in a raised road, can grow and have is in finishes and connection. This idea of the road in this case. This is a learning park in Marinilla. It's near to Medellin. It's a little town in Medellin, and this is the river to connect, and the place of the project is in the border of this case. This is the possibilities of this idea of the models connect and attachment, different another catalog of the project, the possibility to grow in this case, and different configuration. What we want to trigger, we want to work with the idea of the domestic activities on the public space. In general, the people of this region have a big relation with the natural, with the flowers, with that, and we want to put this idea inside of the building. This building has 1, 2, 3, 4 different classrooms for teachers of the different regions in Antioquia, but we want to use the public space. The space is a connection for the urban connection. The people have to walk inside of the building for a ride to the other part of the city. I'm going to show off after that, but for us the most important is we want to put inside of this building, of the void, we want to put the different tool and domestic tool, how the people can exchange flowers, exchange different forms to exchange, yeah? in this case. This project, this project, you have to, for arrive to this part of the city, you have to walk inside. You have to arrive for another way, but this is a more fast way. And the idea to the people is school open and people can walk in the middle of the school. And we want to work with this idea to the relation with the difference. And this is inside of the building. The people go there and put in the mash. The mash, the people can put in the mash different flowers or plants or different, and you can exchange that, and you can go with a maca and put the maca inside of the space. And then we want to trigger this idea of the domestic use inside of the building. In this case, the facade is not closed. It's a match. It's an aluminum match, and the people, we want to trigger different. This is the plans of the building, the different capsule with the program, the possibility to walk, and different gardens, and the possibility to suspend the hamacas and other form to different. In this case, this is the image of the project. This is another possibility to grow. This is the model. And this is the scale to go inside, but it's a possibility to have a theater to project films or another use in this case. This is the real image of the project. This is the last image that we did. This is the relation inside, outside, in the match, and the possibility to see inside of this building. Okay, we're going to show this project more fast and finish with that. This is another approach, the ambient environment. We have interesting to work with the idea of the ambient, what produces the ambient. We want to trigger difference from with it. We want to work with temperature, with colors, with another kind. This is a international center for Loris Malaguzzi in Italy, in Reggio Emilia. We have working in many other schools with the pedagogic methodologic. Loris Malaguzzi methodology, and I think that the space for the schools or for the kindergarten, they have the role to trigger to teach. The space can trigger the possibilities to, in this case. This is my daughter, and my daughter changes every time the dress, and she disfrazarse. Customized. And they change the role, and every time she is learning of the role that they have, and we want to do a project with this idea. And we research about the possibilities during all of our lives, so with the temperature, with the idea of the infables, and we have worked with this idea of the infables. And this is the school. This is the model of the school. This is the classroom around to the patio. To the patio, and the possibility to put in the middle of the patio the infables. These infables can the capacity to change the role of the building, and we are changing the dress of this building. The other infables is infables for the exercise or for gymnastics, connect with the different classroom in this case. What we want to trigger, we want to trigger different how we can teach. With the architectural to the children, what is the sea, what is the jungle, what is the planetary, the North Pole, and we put different dress to the building in fables, and the people understand what happened inside of this building when we put that. This is the fable, the difference, the configuration of the space, and this is the possibility of what we can do with this building. This is a play. The teachers can change the facade. They can change what happened inside in this building. Yeah. We can, in general, we change the dress of the building in 20 minutes. It's very easy. It's not have a problem. We can project another with the film, another space. This is the possibility to change inside of the building. We can open every, and we can do here one only space or different space and different configuration. Open, close, depends what want to do. The teachers in general, this is a draw, this is the model of the project, the fable, and the other models, the image of the project, and another from how open the classroom to the outside in this case, and this is the very hard image in general. In the end, I wanted to explain the idea how we can to possibility to grow and change the architecture every time. And we have a different tools and different approach in this case. Thank you.
Anyways, we'll be opening the floor to questions now, so.
Hi, yeah, I have a question, and particularly especially with the projects that you mentioned, that the way that you conceptualize it is that it can actually grow, right? And most of them are actually these public projects, and also the fact that you...
Can you start again, please?
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I want to ask a question about...
I understand that I need to be more precise for the response.
Yeah.
Good. Okay?
Yeah, I want to ask the questions about the projects that you conceptualize as it being able to grow, and the fact that these are also public projects, right? There's a kind of similarity with the kind of Allison and Peter Smithson projects when they were dealing with public sector projects as well, where they also imagine that things can grow over time. And I wonder what your kind of relationship is with the people who are, with the government, right? Sort of like the people who are managing these public projects, and why, whether the decisions on their part also made you think that these are also projects that could potentially grow over time, that you remain as a kind of architect in the coming years.
Yeah, in this project I didn't show other projects that we are working now with the community. We worked before with the community, and we developed different strategies with the community for this. In this case, we are working now in Cartagena and in Santa Marta. In this case, more work with the idea of the growth with the community. Yeah, it's in the end, it's very difficult because you cannot go to the community to say what you want. When you go to work with the community, you need to it's a negotiate, but you don't go to say what you want. Everybody, when you go in the neighborhood to speak what you want, people say, I want a field for soccer. Or, yeah, you need to understand when you speak with the people, and you need to excavate inside of the people of the community what they need in the real. And it's a form como transferir information, transfer information. I think that is the most important when you go to work with the community. And you learn of the community, and the community learn of you. In this moment, you can work with the community. It's very difficult sometimes to work with this case. But now we are working more with the community. In other case, if you see every project is made for the competition, and you win the competition, and you cannot speak before. You have to speak after the competition. That's maybe the problem of the competition, because you don't have connection with the community, okay?
Thank you for your lecture. I actually have a question about the Hope Forestry Canopy. You mentioned that this is like a safe spot that gangs don't touch, and I was curious to know why.
I think it's because this place is now a reference of the neighborhood. For that, for the whole the people use this place. This is a space. I cannot very well explain English, but I think it's because the people have embraced it, and the people like this place, and the gangs know that this is a place for everybody, and this is important. If you see in the neighborhood, they have another canopies, very simple canopies, blue, and this is a deteriorated place. In this case, in the interview, a woman speaks that this place continued to be not deteriorated, and this is very important because in general, in this place, in the border of the city, have a problem of the deteriorate of the buildings in general. I think it's for that, the embracing of the people. Do people think this is orgulous or orgullosos? Proud of the project, of the neighborhood in this case.
I'm just curious because I don't know I've never been to Colombia, but it seems like that your project is the first public project in that neighborhood, right? The library for this stuff, even the canopy, right? Because it seems like that all these other sort of fabrics of the city seems like that it came out without a vision of an architect. So maybe, I don't know, maybe there's other public buildings there that I don't know of. So my question to you is there some kind of, when you generate this kind of form for the canopy, for example, also you were saying that it really continues throughout the whole city. So I'm trying to think, how does your sort of idea of communication with the community and in terms of form making as an architect, would that be very diverse as well to make up the city? So these are my questions. Is it clear, or should I rephrase it?
No, it's clear.
No, it's clear, but I want to understand the last one. No, okay, no.
Is there a typology
Yeah,
of the public structure?
It depends on the city. Depends on the city. But now in Medellin, it's a very important new architect, and they did a very interesting public project in general. In Bogota, it's not usually now. Maybe 20 years before with Peñalosa, another big approach, an urban approach, the city changed. But it's not usually in other cities in Colombia. They have a public building with the competition. In general, the governments give project to the community, but in the end, the government of the other city don't have interest to give a quality. The problem is put the school, and I did. That is not the problem, and that is not the discussion. Maybe in Medellin with Fajardo, he is a son of the architect, and he understands better the mayor of the city. He is a son of the architect, and he understands better the role of architecture. I am convinced that architecture have a big role of the reconstruction of the relation. I am very interested in the behavior. What produced architecture? What is the real value now of architecture? Is do beautiful building? We work with the elements. It's a very a la moda. Speak about to the elements, but we work with the elements. We need to understand very good the element. But what we use the element for what we want to trigger, what we want to produce. In this case, I am very interested in the behavior of the people of the project. I cannot understand very well what happened, how we can trigger that. It's not in the end. In the end, it's maybe the approach of Foucault about to vigilar y castigar. I don't know that in English.
Disciplinary punishment. Pero lo que ella quería saber era más las psicologías arquitectónicas del Estado, de los proyectos del Estado y cómo eso se
we don't have a relation with the typologies similar to the United States. In the United States, when you go to work in the studio...
So, okay, let me just be more specific about the canopy project then. For example, by having a canopy, you provide a public space for the community, yes? Very powerful. Now, and then you sort of said that it's going to add on right? When you show the photograph of the same module just keep growing throughout the whole city, so that public space is not just a one kind of architectural statement, but it's throughout the city. Now, my question is, isn't those kind of like, doesn't that has to be vary more, like the same system that keep growing? How do you see that? Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah, yeah, with the models, the project you connect with the models. In this case, this neighborhood is very, very, very strong because nobody have a property of the house. That is an invention of the city. It's not, you don't know what is public space, what is private or invites in value.
It is an illegal occupation.
It's an illegal occupation. In this case, now we are growing with the border to connect the street with other place or other foundation. In this case, it's not. When I show the aerial view, I show the possibilities, but it's not the real. We are start to work with the connect two different points in the middle of the street, because that is a opportunity, because it's not public, private. You can work in this middle space in general.
There's a consistency to the work in that you work with very clear diagrams, as you explained,
yes.
Geometries, typologies. We can put many words onto that, and yet you describe your work in terms of behaviorism, which links itself back to a kind of positivism and a kind of, as if there's a scientific approach to the way in which behavior may be correspondent to form. Could you clarify what that link is? I mean, historically, formalism has been in a way disassociated with behaviorism, but you're bringing it back together, and I'm just wondering how you repackage it.
For us, the behavior of the form of the architectural have a relation with the biology. If you understand how biology, and you understand how operate, how the behavior of this biology, and we can understand how grow, what is the function of the membrane. I have another project we work with out to the idea of the membrane. But it's not to representative the biology. Is more how operate, how grow, compress.
Now I have to confess I misunderstood completely what you were saying before, but it looks like you're talking about behavior, the behavior of the form, not the behavior of the community.
No, yeah. No, it's a different approach. In the end, we speak about the behavior. I speak about the behavior of the form when I speak of the operative architecture. And I speak of the behavior of the community when I speak of the architectural action. Okay? When I speak about the play or the anomaly or the embracing or another, that is the behavior of the people. I am interested to understand how the space triggers form to behavior. It's not the control of the space, but I want to understand what happens if we put here a dome in the middle of this space, and what happens if we see another form, how we can do the lecture. If I put maybe a dome in the middle of the space, and you sit in the dome, and I have to walk around with you, and maybe I have another forms. I speak about that for the anomaly of the space. It's not end this research, but we are interested around to this approach, and we are working in this way now. But I will speak behavior of the form and behavior of the community, and I speak of the play of the form when I speak about to the toys. In this case, we group to models and systems. When I speak to the play or toys, in the behavior is different. It's different approach, but have a one point to connect in the end. Okay? Maybe.
Thank you for a wonderful collection of projects. My question is, do we need to talk to a community to do architecture?
Yeah, I think it's important when you work with the people, for you understand. It's the same when you go to see the place, yeah? For me, it's not important how produce the place, the form of the building. For me, it's more important when I go to work with the community, understand what happened, what is the behavior. Today we have spoken in your class about which is the people to live in, I forget it, in Manantiales. They are working in Medellin, in the border of the city, in the top. In this case, the people to live in Manantiales is not from Medellin, come from the other region, and it's black people. And they have another form to behavior, and you need to understand how they work, how they live in community. It's very different to work with the people to Manantiales or work when we have worked in Medellin in Santo Domingo. I think it's very important to understand where come the people, what is the behavior, the traditional approach to work. For me, it's very, very important. It's that important a lot important to understand the place, the connection, and the form.
So should we study that in architecture school? How do we talk to a community?
Yeah, I think this is important, but it's not the end of the target of architecture. You can work with the community, with the philosophy, with the sociology. You don't do architecture with one approach. We are very habituated to speak in architecture of black and white. What happened with the gray in the middle? What happened in this point? What happened with the multiplicity? We are interested to work with the multiplicity, with a different approach. Sometimes the projects go up of the place, sometimes it go up of the other idea upside, or sometimes you need to. For me, the most important when you teach is how you prepare to the people to develop attitude of the design. Es más una idea de cómo I need to understand, to think first, how build an attitude to the design, to think of the design, to think of the architectural. It's not it's not for me the change of architecture is not, the problem is not accumulate information, it's how you transmission the aptitude to think, to design, to innovate, to look for possibilities in this case. It's not biology. It's not chemical. You don't need to know that for that everything. You can do many different approaches. You need maybe the ABC, but you can have the aptitude, the other approach to understand that.
But you don't work with the community in terms of design, right? You don't do you actually when you design something, you ask the community and what they think of it?
I ask the community for the behavior, but I don't ask what you want or what is the form that you like. I want to understand how you live. What is your dreams? What you want to do? I don't want to speak. What is the forms? What is the form that you like it? Maybe they don't know very well. You see, if I spoke before with the community of the Santo Domingo and I show the project to the community doesn't understand what I do. And maybe they say me, I don't understand that. I have spoken before. The most important is the transmission of information. They want to understand what I want to teach, and they teach me how they live. It's not imposed of the community. It's not imposed of the architect. It's the transmission of the communication. We don't speak with the people of the architecture. We speak what you want, what is your work, what you do, what you like to do in the time after to the work. That is most important. That you like the blue architectural or green architectural. I think that is not the point of the discussion.
You showed us the happy ending of the story, and I think it was very interesting to see how the spaces are inhabited. I really like those videos where the building is finished and people are really appropriating and using it. And I would like to know a little bit the beginning of the story, how in some of the most maybe difficult or conflictive neighborhoods when a new architecture arrives and there's people there that maybe don't know what the architecture can do for them, and so how did they take the project, and during the process of construction, was it difficult to build, were materials stolen, and was there
Me perdí.
No, te quería preguntar, has enseñado ese final feliz y te preguntaba sobre en esos barrios más conflictivos cuál fue la receptividad de la gente al principio del proyecto, si realmente confiaban en que esa arquitectura iba a hacer algo por ellos o si había actos de vandalismo, si tuvieses dificultades.
This is a wonderful example for me in this case. This is a kindergarten in Santa Marta. When I opened the kindergarten, in general in Colombia the people have a guardia, ¿cómo se dice?
Security guard.
Security guard, yeah? And the security have a two security guard, and the people cannot go inside because maybe have a problem with destroy the project. Now this project don't have a security guard, and the people to live around to this neighborhood is a poor neighborhood, semi trees, and the people go don't need security. The people use the space for other different activity, and it's open every time. For me, it's a surprise because I didn't see before that. And this is a wonderful example in this case. I have other projects in Cartagena. I cannot know what happened, but it's destroyed every time. In Cartagena, it's very difficult to work because the community of Cartagena is a very more poor community and more degraded. It's people very por muchos años ha sido muy don't have I cannot explain very well, but the community of this city is the social difference is very big. It's different to Santa Marta or Cartagena or other cities. But in this case, look at the neighborhood. The people to this neighborhood speak beautiful of the school and use the school and create the school every time. That is in general, my project don't have a problem of the destroy. I have one or two projects in Cartagena with this problem.
Well, thank you, Giancarlo. I just wanted to remark a couple of things, three things. First of all, your English is very good. I understood everything that you said. Second, I'm very grateful as an architect how you used architecture to give hope, to educate, to share with the cultural and architectonical world, but also with the communities, everything that architecture can give. And personally, you were telling me that you're getting close to Spain, that you like Spain, and your first project is about the library is called Spain.
The library of Spain is not because Spain give the money for the library. I know. The Spain give 4,000 euros. But more for the show of the king go to Medellin.
I know that you like Spain very much, so I want to share with you a theory of game that one of our greatest thinkers of the 20th century, Federico García Lorca, explained very well what's a game in art. And he explained that through this theory of game, the artists have always three figures that accompany them. It's el ángel, the angel, that illuminates you and always somehow inspires. Also la musa, the muse, that you follow it with almost blind faith in what the inspiration is pushing you. Lorca rejected angel and
I don't have interest of the musa. It's not.
He said that the real artist follows el duende. Okay, el duende is what I think some of your projects have. No? El duende is some kind of psycho-emotional relationship to the art piece. It's really a hidden evocation of the deepest and more authentic part of a creative act. In this case, Lorca explained through poetry, but I think some of your projects don't have clear angel or you don't follow la musa, but they do have part of this duet. Okay? So I want to thank you for this amazing lecture and for having this duende in your projects. Thank you very much.